welcome everybody to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of the Punch Drunk Critics, and this is the official podcast of the Punch Drunk Critics. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell what I'm about to be talking about. It is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I thought about this one a little bit. Now, I was gonna have some friends come in and join me in talking about the movie, but I thought about it and I decided I kind of just wanted to do it myself. This is a big film, and not just for Marvel, but it's a major film in general because everything's going to change after this one. And I'm not going to lie, it got a little bit emotional for me towards the end of the movie, and so I kind of wanted to deal with it myself and kind of examine the way I feel about the Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole, because this movie is taken best as part of the whole. Individually, I think it's got some issues. It's a bit slow to get moving, and I think James Gunn, who we know is on the way out or is already out. He's the leading DC Studios, the distinguished competition, the rivals of Marvel. He's gone already from Marvel. He's done. We got a couple of actors who are also said they're going to be done, such as Dave Bautista says he's finished as Drax. And Zoe Saldana says she's done as Gamora. And it looks like Pom Klementieff is going to be joining James Gunn over in DC. I think all three of them will probably join him eventually for something. But it's going to be a lot of changes. And, we're never going to see this team quite the way as it is now, probably ever again. And that comes to mean something towards the end of this movie. But as we knew going in, it largely centers on Rocket, probably the most popular character in the entire franchise, right? And it's about his origin, how he came to be Rocket, and that sadly is part of a really bittersweet backstory in which he's a captive of the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary is a major figure in the Marvel universe. He's a big time villain. He specializes in animal hybrids. He created the Knights of Wondergore and Animan, and his part of his story even ties in to the origin of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. He's a big time figure. Here he is the torturer and the guy who experimented on Rocket, and also a group of Rocket's animal friends. And there's some really sweet Amblin-esque storytelling that goes on between these animal friends as they bond together in this moment in which they're being tortured, and they all have their own individual dreams and things that they would like to do. And of course, there's somberness attached to that because we probably can sense that it's not going to work out well for most, if not all of them. But there's more than that going on here. Like I said, James Gunn has a lot of story he wants to tell, and he tries to tell all of it. You've got Star-Lord, once again played by Chris Pratt, who is still heartbroken over the death of Gamora. You've got the relationship between Drax and Mantis. You've got Nebula, who is fitting into this makeshift family, something she's never really had before. I felt that she needed before, a family, and she's also dealing with the presence of this new Gamora, once again played by Zoe Saldana. This Gamora that was introduced in Avengers Endgame, who is from a few years back, so she does not have the memories that she had with Star-Lord. She still has a lot of the bitterness that she had towards Nebula. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And on top of that, you've got the introduction of Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter. Adam Warlock's a character that fans have been begging for since the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. What was that, way back in 2014? People have been begging for Adam Warlock to appear, and he finally does. And if I were to say anything, I would say the addition of Adam Warlock is probably like one thing too many. His debut is a bit clunky for me. It's nothing against Will Poulter's performance. He's just such a powerhouse figure. And I know what Gunn was doing. In the comics, Adam Warlock is, when he's created, he's a blank slate. He needs to find his way, and that's what this movie is largely about. He's very impressionable, but it comes off a little bit goofy, and and he kind of felt like he was only there to like hurt people and then go away, and that would propel the plot forward when things would get stale. And there's there's some moments like that in the first hour of this movie. It's a bit of a slog. It's not bad because the interactions between these characters will never be bad, but the movie kind of lacks momentum for a while, and then it suddenly picks up. And when the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 picks up, I mean, it's look, James Gunn, I put it like this: James Gunn is a master at playing with our emotions, especially in the way he uses music. He makes an action scene that much cooler. He makes a funny scene that much more hilarious because of the choices in music that he makes. They make us feel certain things. He's really good at the big swing emotions, and he's just as good at that when it comes to tugging at your heartstrings. This movie gets seriously emotional, like I said, for me, at a certain point towards the end of the movie, as you started to feel that things are winding down. And, you start to think about, how you're not going to see these characters again, some of them maybe, or at least you're not going to see them together again. For me, it's like it made every time Drax did something dangerous or stupid, and Mantis, who, let's be honest, she's been his ride or die for the couple of movies that she's been a part of. It made their scenes together mean that much more. It made Rocket and Groot's moments together mean that much more. It made those scenes with Star-Lord and Gamora mean that much more. James Gunn is great at this. He's really good at this. He's great. And you could tell that he probably was feeling a certain kind of way while writing this too. This is a movie that has a lot of stuff going on. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it all works. It doesn't all work. But when I take it as a whole, the thing that gets me is that the Guardians of the Galaxy is really Marvel's best team. They're the best team in the entire MCU. You look at the Avengers. I mean, we like the Avengers, but they're the business team, right? Like in the comics, the joke is that there's a new roster like every other issue, and it's true. That's kind of their thing. So they never quite feel like a family. They just feel like a group of heroes brought together. Like the Justice League. I don't think of the Justice League as a family. But when I watch the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's amazing how close-knit they feel after just 3 movies. They really felt that way after 1. But after 3, they really feel that way. Like I can't imagine them being apart, like ever. And but it's something that you kind of have to face, that things are not going to be the same after this. But James Gunn has done a phenomenal job at getting these characters, these misfit characters. Remember in 2014 or whatever, Guardians of the Galaxy was the biggest gamble Marvel would be taking. It's this C-list team. Nobody knew any of the characters in it. He cast a lot of unproven actors in it too. I mean, Dave Bautista was not the proven actor yet at all. For me, as a wrestling fan, I was like, really? Dave Bautista? Chris Pratt had never been the lead for this kind of thing. You had, big voice stars, Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper, and Zoe Saldana was up there too as somewhat proven, but not on not for something like this. Yes, she had Avatar, but not for something like this. And it just felt like Marvel was taking a big chance here, and it could have failed, and it didn't. People loved it, and they continued to love it all the way up until now, and they'll continue to love these characters and whatever they do after this. But they truly feel like a family, and that they've come to mean quite a bit to me, surprisingly, which is why I said this movie really started to mean a lot to me towards the end, and I can't wait to see it again. Guardians of the Galaxy is not perfect, like I said, it's got flaws, but taken as a whole, as part of the 3 movies, it is a beautiful and yes, bittersweet swan song to what I think is Marvel's greatest super team. So that's all I'm going to say about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for now. I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say during the week. I've been showing up in a lot of different places talking about it. And of course, you'll see a lot of my thoughts on the film at punchdrunkcritics.com as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find more episodes of Cinema Royale, this show, anywhere that you get your podcasts. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.